Yo guys, the talk of the producer community is about the new product called SLAB by Serato. Let's look at it. So we're going to go to their channel, Serato and Alpha Theta and Pioneer DJ Global, and we're going to play this video they published here.
SLAB is the first controller designed and made to work
So let me, let's run this back on.
SLAB is the
Firstly, the colors on here look crazy. That kind of like neutral, but like, what do you call it? Like, not palette, pastel colored look, at least from what it looks like right here. It looks very 80s, but in a modern way. And it looks like the PlayStation buttons over here. Tell me I'm wrong. The PlayStation buttons right here.
first controller designed and made to work with Serato Studio. As a natively mapped MIDI controller, SLAB puts everything from Serato Studio right at your fingertips, so you can stay in the zone without having to reach for your mouse. It's designed to work with Serato.
Now, one thing is Serato Sample. I love that they allowed this to be in other DAWs because Serato Sample helps so much. And when they made that free update from Serato Sample 1 to 2, it was like when Serum went from Serum 1 to Serum 2 and they gave that free update. It was the same feeling, like, whoa, this company delivers value. So shout out to Serato. We worked in the past, and you know, I can say Serato Sample is the pinnacle of one, stem separation. I think Logic has the best stem splitter, but in terms of like quick stem separation, Serato Sample definitely is number 2 in that case. And also the way it does the chops is like very easy to do, and basically it's a perfect tool if you're trying to sample. If I remember, I'll leave a link below, but I forget to link it all the time.
Sample, and even Serato DJ Pro as an
Wow. Okay, so I'm not a DJ, but if I was a DJ, this looks pretty dope. You got your laptop to the right. You got your, what are they called? Spin wheels? You got those spinny things, those discs. Okay, you got your spinny wheel things. I don't know what these are called. Turntables. You got your mixer, it looks like, in the middle, and your whatever this screen would be called. Forgive me, I'm not a DJ. Okay, and then the actual unit right here. I think that's actually dope because you could just reach over, do a quick little drum loop or melody or whatever you're triggering from that, and then get right back to doing whatever it is DJs do. I have no idea.
Accessory device. But for this video, I'll show you how
I gotta say, I know I keep pausing it, but this is probably the most aesthetic design I've seen from, I have a machine behind me. Let me go grab it real quick. All right, I got the Ableton Push 2, I want to say, and it's still wrapped up. I haven't opened this thing in a minute. As you guys can see, I don't even really use that at all, if ever. I don't even think I used that once, just to test it out. And then the machine, we use this a couple times for the YouTube channel. So this is the newer machine from what I remember. I don't know exactly which model this is, but this is the newer one that they sent over to me. And, oh, MK3. Okay, this is the machine MK3. And it's, I mean, it feels good. It feels like a real drum machine. You hit it. Ta, 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 that type of thing. But this slab has a way cooler aesthetic, in my opinion. Yeah, whoever did the aesthetic makes this really appealing. This is kind of the argument with MPC Live 3. It's like people didn't like the colors on it. Personally, I liked it when it got more colorful. So this slab, I mean, man, this is just a sexy machine. Whoever designed this, whoever's idea was to make the colors like this, where it's gray and then like pastel colors, they need a raise. Shout out to them, whoever that was.
show you how to make a beat on SLAB.
And it has, oh, sorry. So I know I keep pausing it, y'all, but this is the exciting part.
Pro.
Like, to even make us use a machine like this, it has to have an appeal to it. It can't just be like, okay, it sounds good and it has all these features. It needs to look good too.
But for this video, I'll show you how to make a beat.
It's kind of like Pop the Balloon. Like a guy could be the greatest guy in the world, but if he's wearing the worst outfit on Pop the Balloon, it's like, bro, you got to present yourself a certain way. So this gives very PlayStation 1 vibes, and I'm vibing with it. Shout out to whoever's the visual engineer on this project, or engineers.
Beat on SLAB in Serato Studio.
All right, now
let's start with the drums. Hold Shift plus Auto Set to select a genre, and we'll generate a pattern from Studio's library.
So is that like Loop Starter from FL Studio? Who came up with that first? Not that it matters. I'm just like wondering, did FL take this idea from Serato? It doesn't matter who came up with it first. I guess this is for people who are trying to perform and they have to do stuff really quickly. Like, because as a producer, I probably want to do this myself. But that's cool. That's very similar to FL Studio's Loop Starter
genre
feature.
And we'll generate a pattern from Studio's library. You can always hit Shift plus Delete to clear the deck so you can do your own thing.
Where do they get these stock sounds from? These companies have multi-million-dollar products and they have the weirdest stock sounds. Let's run this back.
Hit Shift plus Delete to clear the deck so you can do your own thing. Let's give it some feel. Set SLAB to strip mode and use the touch strip to quickly dial in the swing for the drums.
Now that I like, because one thing I love about Logic is how quickly you can do the swing mix and the amount of swing. It's like you can, excuse me, I'm getting over sinus infection. You can basically like slide it a nudge as you're listening back. So I can't tell if this is doing it in real time.
Set SLAB to strip mode and use the touch strip to quickly dial in the swing.
Yeah, it's doing it in real time. So in FL, you would have to like quantize and then go into the settings and turn it. And it's like, it takes too many steps. It's not really real time in FL Studio, but this looks like it's real time swing with the amount there as well too. Maybe that's just the swing parameter. So in that case, this is just modulating the swing parameter. I guess you could technically do that in the channel rack of FL. Does it have a swing mix? That's what I need to know. Hold on. What's even there to swing? What are they swinging? There's nothing to swing.
Touch strip to quickly dial in the swing for the drums.
Oh, there's, okay, the kick.
Now, let's look at the hi-hats by viewing them on SLAB step sequencer. Press Shift plus piano mode. I want my hi-hats to sound a bit more human and less programmed. Hold down any of the pads in the sequence and shift where they land by turning the big dial.
That's dope. So time shift is a huge thing in general. And just the smallest of nudge can make your hi-hat sound way cooler if you just nudge them a little to the right behind that kick. The fact that you could do this with a couple.
Now, let's look at the hi-hats.
It just looks like I can't get over the aesthetic. Whoever made this, you know what this is the equivalent of? This is the equivalent of Kanye West's first Yeezys when they came out. Let me pull up a picture. All right, so I might be crazy, but it's been years since I've seen this thing. I think these are the Yeezys that like Kanye was first making. I'm not sure. It's been so long, y'all. There's probably another pair somewhere that looks more like the ones I'm thinking of. But you see how it has this like simple neutral look with this offset 80s kind of pastel kind of colors to it. And even this picture over here, let me find it. Like these colors, it looks cool because it's neutral and then it spices it up with that like coloration, especially the pink. So that's what this product is reminding me of, is like the original Yeezy. But man, aesthetic, this is just showing how important aesthetics are, because that is very, very, very aesthetic.
By viewing them on SLAB step sequencer. Press Shift plus piano mode. I want my hi-hats to sound a bit more human and less programmed. Hold down any of the pads in the sequence and shift where they land by turning the big dial. And to adjust the velocity, again, hold down any of the pads that you want to change, and this time, we'll use the touch strip.
So I will say with machines like this, we're only a minute in. I need to let this ride a little bit, sorry. But with machines like this, you got to get kind of used to the workflow, hitting shift and going to all these sub menus. It is a little bit of a workflow difference from clicking in your DAW. So I will say that, because I've had the machine, and the machine, you got to know what to click, like shift this to get the pad mode and then shift this. And if you don't have the mindset of an MPC, going into machines like this, you might not even understand why the pad mode is important, or 16 levels, stuff like that. Shout out to Av McCree.
To dial in those playing dynamics. I can do the same process for anything in the kit, snares, claps, or even kicks, to make adjustments to the beat. To get out of the sequence view and back to the full playing kit, press
I can't even tell what's happening, yo. I don't even know what's happening right now.
Now that I have my drums the way that I want, let's make the loop longer. Press scene size to extend the scene size out to the way that you want. Here, I'll extend it to 4 bars. And let's add some more.
We need to give Serato a drum kit, because what are these drums?
Variation to the loop by adding in some note repeats. I'll select the hi-hat and hold down the note repeat and dial in the repeat value with the first encoder knob, anywhere from a 4th note to a 1/32 triplet. And I'll record a variation to finish up the drums.
All right, now with that swing, okay, now the drums feel right. Okay, so that little thing that he just did, it just definitely made that make sense.
Sample. I'll create a new scene by pressing.
Look at those colors, y'all. I can't get over the perfection of aesthetic with this. Who made this? We need to find out the designer whose idea it was to put those colors in it and give it that gray tone. That's such a perfect, like, this might be the most perfect looking machine I've ever seen in terms of music production, I mean.
Scene select and tap on an empty pad to make a new scene. Let's navigate the library to load in a sample. With the sample loaded, I'll use auto set to automatically chop up and set cue points throughout the sample. If you want to change the auto set mode, You can hold shift and press auto set.
All right, so I assume, okay, so everything goes down on the computer and they're using this controller to trigger the computer. Basically, it's a really fancy MIDI controller from what I see.
You can favorite the cue points you like and press auto set again to find more. If there are any chops that I don't want, I'll hold down delete and press the pads. And if I want to scroll through my sample, I'll set deck scrub as the down mode. This way, I can tap on any of the empty pads inside.
That reminds me of the MPC, the VMPC plugin that I showed you guys, where you can like scroll through the sample and make little chops. I do like that workflow of like having a wheel that just allows you to chop wherever you want, because then you get the imperfected chops. You get, you can get really granular if you want. But I like that kind of flawed chopping style if that's your workflow, especially with that what do you call it, knob
on cue points. I can choose whether I want to tap to trigger.
Because it'd be fun to just do the scroll wheel, hit the button, scroll wheel, hit a button, scroll wheel, hit a button. And then whatever you hit the button on, that's like your chop. That'd be fun. Scroll wheel, button.
Or hold down a pad for each chop's playback with the trigger mode button. Let's quickly dial the frequencies and volume. Press the encoder mode and then go to deck EQ to shape the track's highs, mids, lows, and levels using these 4 encoder knobs.
You got to give it to the demonstrator, because to show off all these features with this simple of a beat it takes a lot of work. So shout out to them.
And now with all my cue points set, I can press record and record in my chops.
Oh, I like that big button. It's record. Let's go. Why is this so aesthetic, yo? You know what it is? It's definitely a PlayStation vibe on the left side. This right side is definitely Yeezy vibes. Bro, I cannot get over how good the aesthetic is on this, y'all. I might even get one just to hang it up. Just turn it on so it has all the colors and just use it as a background thing on the wall. It's a piece of art.
Now, let's make another scene and load another sample to do something different. I'll separate the sample stems. I only want the melody, so I'll mute the bass and
Did they practice this? Like, how does he know everything to do perfectly in time? That's crazy.
everything else. Press the encoder mode button and select deck stems, and press down on the encoder knobs to turn off any of the unwanted stems.
That's pretty dope. The 4 designated knobs just for the stems. That's pretty dope.
And for the melody stem, I can turn the encoder knob to adjust the level
And it's
of
a
the
mixer
stems
on there?
to my liking.
That's fire.
And like I did before, I'll tweak the EQ.
This looks like some German engineering right here. It took some Japanese engineering. Some really, really smart people.
Cues
Pull this one
and
off.
the deck volume. Now I want to add.
Wait, did I see Decap's name in there? I definitely see Decap's name in here. So Decap is in this machine, y'all. Literally, somebody go save him.
Now I want to add bass to my track. So I'll make a new scene and I'll add another sample in.
How many samples?
This sample's got a pretty good bass line already.
I feel like the beat's
so let's
done,
load it up
but
into
they got to
a
show us
deck
all the
and
features, so
place
they
a
just keep
couple of
adding
chops.
stuff. Not mad at it though.
And for this sample,
Now,
I
we'll
don't
be honest to say I don't use Serato Studio though. Serato Sample, goated. I've just never gotten to Serato Studio. But can this be used on other DAWs? I don't know. Can it be used with Serato Sample?
want the melody. So again, I'll mute the track stems except for the bass.
Shout out to MSX.
Now, let's
sound
make some
effect.
minor adjustments. This cue point here is playing a little bit too fast for my bass line, so I'll time stretch the BPM on this pad to make it slower. By pressing Shift and encoder mode, I can adjust the tempo for the pad parameter.
How did they know to do all this in this order like that? As a person who makes
The
videos
bass
every
sounds
day,
good, but it needs a bit more volume.
You
So
really
I'll raise
gotta-
the bass stem's volume and add in some hard compression as well.
it's almost harder to plan this video than to do it.
A shortcut for adding in one of Studio's built-in effects, switch to deck effect mode using the encoder mode button. Holding down Shift and turning the encoder knob lets you load in the effect for that knob.
So they have quick effects. That's pretty cool.
All right, now
Man, what a beautiful machine. I got to say, Serato, You guys killed the design. Like literally, I wish we can give an award to how great this looks. There has to be an award out there to give these guys.
The bass is done. Let's make another scene and play out some ARP notes. Let's add a synth to another instrument deck. All the pads are available in key because playing key is active.
Okay, so now they're playing melodies with this. That's hard.
And to have this track fit nicely in the mix, I can make some small adjustments to EQ, volume, and also use the touch.
Who's the producer? I don't know who's talking.
And lastly, I'll add some effects to the synth. All right, so now I've got all the main tracks for the beat, but I want some of the scenes to stand out even more. So on Slab, I'll use the pad effects. Slab has 4 unique effects.
Bruh, I cannot get over this. Why does this look so freaking fire? How much is this thing? Let me look up the price. Hold on. All right, I don't know why it's taking so long for me to figure out how to buy this thing, but basically, shout out to DiBiase. I saw him post on Twitter. That's initially how I even saw what the Slab was. Shout out to Stolen Drums on the right there. Shout out to DJ Epic in the middle. I'm still trying to figure out how the heck to buy this thing. They are making it difficult. That's for doggone sure. I'm scrolling on this page. It keeps selling me Serato Studio, but where is the Slab? I want the Slab. All right, y'all. I cannot figure out how to buy this thing. Actually, I'm wrong. Okay, so it took like forever to get to this page, but it's $330. I mean, that's pretty nice for what it does. I mean, I know MIDI controllers that are simply just MIDI controllers, and they're like $900 just because they have weighted keys. So the fact that this has the craziest aesthetic I've ever seen, and I assume you could use it just like any other MIDI controller. I assume. I don't know if that's true. Then this seems like a multi-use thing. And I mean, the aesthetic alone is impeccable. Like $330 is not bad for what it is in terms of like, again, to me, it's a piece of art / it can do MIDI stuff. The highest I go on a normal MIDI controller without like the drum pads is like 150-ish. That's kind of my max on like the keys. But in terms of this, you know, 300 is not, it's not too high priced in my opinion. Now, the only question we have as buyers, I guess at this point is like, how, because I've never used Serato Studio like that, or I used it like once in the past. It's like, do we have to dedicate our lives to Serato Studio to use the Slab, or will this be able to like go cross DAW, like where I could use it in FL and it links up with the Serato sample, or Ableton and it links up with the Serato sample? Or can I just use it as a straight MIDI controller with some functionality? I'm not expecting it to work as if it would in Serato Studio, but it'd be dope if this were like cross DAW, because then I could see a lot of people hopping on board.
Types, which you can only access with Slab connected. You have the
wait, I talked over whatever point they just made.
Scenes to stand out even more. So on Slab, I'll use the pad effects. Slab has 4 unique effects types, which you can only access with Slab connected.
Okay, 4
you have the
effects
wah
types.
filter, the lo-fi crush, the inverse reverb, and the pitch loop. These effects.
That's what we need, that like J Dilla performance style. Like we need a mute button, mute it real quick, a reverse button, reverse it real quick. We need a little stutter button, stutter it real quick. We need a reverse mute tape stop, if I didn't already say that. And yeah, I guess the echo button, what they already did.
Types are grouped into columns, with the effects amounts increasing from 25% to 100%, from the bottom to the top.
Please add the Dilla buttons. If you guys add the Dilla buttons, the little simple mute, the little simple stutter, the little simple tape stop, the little simple whatever, like low pass filter, you're probably going to appeal to a lot more people just with those 4 things, just right there.
You can use these effects for live beat sets or record them in as automation. And if I make a mistake, I can always hit undo to start over. Now that the beat is finished, I can play around with the overall BPM and key to hear what it sounds like. To do this, press the encoder mode, select deck parameters.
I don't think y'all understand how hard it is to make a beat using every single feature that this person showed off and have it sound cohesive. Like that alone is impressive. That's very, very, very hard to do.
Turn the encoder knobs to make the adjustments. Slower or faster, or pitched higher or lower.
This is hard.
And that's it. Grab Slab and bring beat making back to your hands. Head over to Serato.com to learn more about Slab and Serato Studio.
Yeah, whoever this is definitely sold it. The other person on the other video did not sell it at all. Like I skipped that video. But this person, forgive me, I'm trying to give credit. I just don't know who's in the video. Hold up. All right, so I'm clueless who this is. Forgive me. We might even follow each other on Instagram. I don't know. I just don't know faces that well. But whoever this is, I want to give credit. Shout out to him. Comments. Let me know who it is in the comments. We got to put them on. They are dope. All right, y'all. Subscribe if you're new. And this slab is definitely a work of art. Look at, well, this isn't. Wait, hold on. That, if I could pause it on, just let me find a better picture. Hold on. Y'all, we have to come up with some kind of award for the best looking, most appealing piece of gear in the last 5 years. I think this has to be, probably in my whole lifetime as a music producer, the greatest looking production thing we've ever had. I might be wrong, but comment below if I'm wrong. But this thing, they put their sauce in that aesthetic. I can't get over this. It really is like a piece of art. All right, y'all. Subscribe if you're new. Peace.